You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Hey, what's going on? This is episode 278 of the IT in the D show. Guests this week include, we got the F5 team in the house. Dan Grice.
We have a tornado in the building?
Yes.
Damn.
F5 Networks, Dave.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
We got Dan Grice, Michael O'Neill in the house. They're going to be talking about managing environments in the multiple cloud world that we live in today. Should be a fun talk. Old friends with Dan. Also, we got Mohammed Zahraddin. I just did it earlier. He's the CIO, and Zach Weingarten, the product solutions manager from Trial Assure. They built a software program that allow you.
Your marketing manager is the most proactive person I have ever met
Yes, indeed.
in my entire life.
They built a software that allows pharmaceuticals to disclose clinical trials to government agencies worldwide. Should be a great, great talk. But hey, this show is brought to you by our friends at Palm. Palm is back, and it's available on Verizon. Palm is a small, practical companion device that syncs with your existing smartphone, so all your info is seamlessly connected. Palm is not a replacement for your smartphone, but it has all the same mobility and capability, allowing you to leave your smartphone behind so you can focus on what's in front of you.
You know what's really cool? I actually just had a conversation with these guys. It comes by default. So it's a little like credit card sized Gorilla Glass thing so that it's not breakable or anything like that. But it comes pre-programmed with Do Not Disturb on. So it's not like every other device you have where it's just going to start annoying you immediately.
Or Apple Watch, and everyone looks at their watch every 3 seconds.
Like you have to proactively say, okay, I have this other device and I want it to alert me to things. It's kind of cool.
Priority. No, it's good.
Yeah.
People need to unplug this every once in a while. No, it's good. And have something that's priority. Yes,
Yeah.
I need that. But do us a favor. Go to palm.com to learn more, or run to your nearest Verizon store to check out Palm for yourself. Dave, you may fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT in the D Show.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Just where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress?
Detroit? Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Jeremy London from Mallrats, and I'm just wondering, how did I go from Hot Floridian Sex with Brandy spinning to the IT&D show?
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D show. And Bob and Dave touch my boo-boos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly. Come on. Let's try. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to this.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the beak off.
Hi, this is David Kay, the voice of Professor Xavier from X-Men Evolution. Storm! Come here, Storm. Sit on my lap, Storm. You're listening to IT in the D.
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. You're listening to IT in the D. And if you want to get your money's worth, stay right here. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT in the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds!
What is a nerd? Hi, this is Ogre. You listen to a bunch of nerds on the IT in the D? Nerd.
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. IT and the D show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
I'm totally into Dave, but not
Right.
so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D show. Tough guy. Ho!
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. So, Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. You are listening to the one and only IT in the D Show pre-Christmas edition, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. That is Dave the Geek. Randy, I do the Twitters, is in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Do us a favor. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, so before we dive in, life is too short for bad Wi-Fi. Thankfully, the Eero Home Wi-Fi system brings you a fast, reliable connection in every room of the house. Not to mention the second generation Eero and Eero Beacon allow you to build a Wi-Fi system that's more perfectly tailored to the home than ever before. When you add Eero Plus, you get total network protection with the ability to block malicious and unwanted content across your entire network. By checking the sites you visit against a database of millions of known threats, Eero Plus prevents you from accidentally visiting malicious sites without slowing anything down. Eero Plus automatically tags sites that contain violent, illegal, or adult content. My kids are so mad about this. So you can choose what your kids can and cannot visit right from the Eero app. You can also get rid of annoying ads and pop-ups on all your devices. That's actually been a very cool thing. Highly enjoying that. Ad blocking improves load times for ad-heavy sites. You can browse and stream faster than ever before. Now, if only they would build something in that would immediately, as soon as it says, hey, click here to start slideshow. No. Here's everything all on one page.
Yeah,
Done.
it's not
that
happening.
would be phenomenal. But no, we've both got Eero networks in the house. They're outstanding. My kids love it. Other than, of course, the filtering that I can do from it now. But no, like, there's no whining. There's no complaining. I haven't heard my Netflix or Hulu is buffering or slowing down since this has been in the house.
No, and like I said, we got a weird house. It being tall and
You
like
have
full
an
house.
insanely weird house.
Yeah. But no, never a complaint. I think the only complaint was Saturday night because I took my Bluetooth phone upstairs and then the Bluetooth speakers downstairs flickered. But that had nothing to do with the Wi-Fi.
That's
obviously.
Bluetooth, yeah.
Right.
Well, no, but even simple shit like guest access.
Never had a glitch. Never had seriously, and it took me idiot 5 minutes to set up the whole house.
Well, yeah. Hey, and what's your cell phone number? Cool. I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah.
There's your access for 24 hours. Play on the network. Could not be any possibly simpler. So anyway, never think about Wi-Fi again. Here's what you do. You get $100 off the Eero base unit and 2 beacons package. That's all you're going to need for any, no matter what house you have. That's probably all you're going to. I mean, Nuri has that in his house.
He's got a 6,000 square foot
with
old
levels and
university
basement
house.
and weird, old kind of, So you get $100 off the Eero base unit and 2 beacons packages and a year of Eero Plus. So just visit Eero, that's EERO.com/IT in the D, and then enter code IT in the D at checkout. That's Eero, EERO.com/IT in the D, and code IT in the D at checkout. Guys, we love your stuff. Thanks for the support.
Phenomenal stuff. By the way, this is going to be the last show of the year. So with Christmas and New Year's falling on a Monday, we might do a special recording during the week.
Because there's the thing at DSC on the 23rd.
Yeah,
That's
I'm cool with
Sunday.
doing a year-end wrap.
Maybe, yeah.
Like no guests, just me and you and Randy.
hang
and,
for an hour and sit around at DSC and drink.
Absolutely.
Life's good. Yeah.
I must make this announcement though. Like you talked about getting roofied, and it was like one of the worst days of your life. I also have to announce I didn't get roofied, but I had probably the worst day of my life ever.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Wait, that wasn't a roofie, Bob. That was the 87 shots that you drank.
No, but okay, so let me paint the picture. We had our friendsmas party on Saturday, which is basically, kind of like dig through, grandpa's old liquor cabinet and see what's behind everything and let's try this one. Icky, let's try this one. So Sunday I'm pretty much plastered in the big chair. I'm not moving. I don't feel like going anywhere. My sister-in-law crashed at our house, so my sister-in-law and my wife when I wake up, are watching the Hallmark Channel. And I sat in my chair.
Which, let's be real, the plot of every Hallmark Channel movie is overworked woman who's overstressed, who meets wealthy guy who's unhappy with his life, usually unhappy with his fiancée at the time, and usually there's a dog.
No, the Christmas ones are worse. This one was more like a Karate Kid motif, but she told everyone she could make a great gingerbread house, and she got exposed as a fraud. So then she got the training from an old lady who taught her the ways, and then built the gingerbread house and won the
Was there a
hearts
montage?
and mind. No, there was no montage.
The best around.
Who bankrolls this garbage?
It was called Gingerbread Chronicles, and every movie had like one of the Full House girls. I swear to God, every movie had one of.
Oh yeah, they all do. Yeah,
right. With whatever the hell are like Josie Sweeney. In a world,
Candace Cameron, in a world where gingerbread houses matter.
And then the other one was the PTO needed to raise money for their art program, and like they did like a Christmas Under the Stars, and like they were planning. It was so much work and hard, and they raised $162,000 for their school arts program, and like 30 people showed up to this outdoor concert. I was mind blown. I'm like, dude, we're lucky if we raise like $1,000.
They were all corporate sponsors.
I don't know. Like $162,000, and they weren't happy about it. And at the end, he like kisses her, and they like, oh, you like me? You'd work so I sat there.
That's the ending of every single movie.
I sat there until I basically pleaded like insanity, and I can't take it anymore. But you know what I did notice?
Could have been worse. You could have been watching The Lions.
Yeah. Good point. There's a new thing on Netflix. Have you seen it? It sucks. I hate it. Not the movie.
Hey, this milk smells bad. Smell this.
No, it's when you're watching a movie now, and then there's a part that's considered cool by whose standards, I don't know. You know, like skip intro button?
Yeah.
There's a watch it again button now.
What?
Dude, I'm not kidding. We watched
in the middle of a movie.
Yes, the Santa Chronicles. With
apparently, I'm not watching cool enough.
With
shit.
Snake Plissken, right? Like Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
And I'm watching it with my kids.
Escape from the North Pole.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally what it was. Like there's like he does like some thing where like the sleigh's running around and like chasing. And then there's Watch It Again. Then I looked. There was another movie we watched.
Did you click it?
We watched. I think. My kid watched Dumplin', and I sat through some Jennifer Aniston stupid. I don't ask me, dude. And it was like the part where they're like singing at the play, and they're like, "Watch it again," and I go, "Watch what again? That part sucked." Like, I guess this is a thing now. Like, so it was on like 2 different movies.
It's quote the ability to rewatch favorite scenes and memorable moments with the click of a button.
Who defines the memorable moments? Because those were all shit when I watched. And
Bob's looking for that feature on like Bikini Car Wash Summer.
Yeah,
Netflix won't say how they determine that, and they're not sure if they're going to roll out this feature.
Ancient Chinese secret.
No, they got like 12 versions going. That part's cool.
That was a good one.
Who? Yeah, it's kind of like Revenge of the Nerds too. Like, who defines the standards?
Yes,
right. I want to know because
machine learning.
Machine learning.
It's all machine learning for you.
Oh, they go. Yeah, 50% of our watchers rewound it at this part. Yeah, so we're gonna.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so bad. I want no part of it.
Speaking of standards, this is possibly one of my favorite stories of the week, just because of our past history and things that we've seen. I don't know if you heard Tara Reid. Who we ran into at Comic-Con a couple years ago, and I'm sure there is still video floating around somewhere of you serenading her with Careless Whisper.
Did they videotape that?
That was absolutely videoed. I assure you that was recorded.
Can you pull that up?
Yes. Karaoke night at Comic-Con is amazing, but it's one level up when Bob is serenading Tara Reid with Careless Whisper. She's suing the producers of Sharknado for $100 million. Why?
Yeah, I want to know why.
Because they released a Sharknado beer, and I quote, well, number one, it apparently was in her contract that they wouldn't do that because she would never endorse alcoholic products.
Wait a minute. Is this the same Tara Reid at Comic-Con that was asking no, this is how bad. So you guys know, everyone knows I'm pretty much a drunk. Like I don't drink at home, but when I'm out, it's on. I'm Tommy Boy. Give me shots. I had a fifth of Jameson in my trunk that was 12 feet from where she was asking I would kill anyone for a drop of whiskey right now at 11 in the morning. And I looked at it, my best judgment, my enablement. Like usually I'll be like, oh my God. And I looked at him like, no, I'm not.
That's just a bad decision. No.
You're not getting. And you smoked my friend's weed. And you. Did I say that out loud?
She's apparently a very ethical and has very high standards and would never endorse such a maybe she would endorse Jameson, but not beer.
Right. And so as the Sharknado franchise grossed, let alone made,
yeah. Oh, it's made, dude. That's made so much money.
I
didn't even know, I didn't even know. They're like, there are what, 6 or 7 of them? I didn't know there were that many. They're
making the 7s coming out.
Yeah, like I had no, like I remember we did the event around the first one. And then we did the event around the second one, and that's the last one I paid attention to. And like,
it makes money. Like, is this like a Britney Spears going to Vegas and made more money than her like career?
Actually, dude, the Sci-Fi
like
Channel
Ian Ziering makes those.
Just shoveling, just raking in dollars.
I might consider the Hallmark Channel before Sharknado.
I've sat through Sharknado 1. I've never seen 2 through 6.
I don't get it.
Like what was there untold things that happened? You
have to see the first couple to get to
understand. Right.
Well, there's so many unanswered questions.
Like
I'm still waiting for
who's the father.
No, I'm waiting for 7. I'm hoping is the massive tidal wave that hits the East Coast and swoops up all of the zoo animals and becomes the tsunami.
Oh,
that's what I'm waiting for.
No, Squirrellicane. Wasn't that what I came up with?
Squirrellicane, yeah.
We got to go way back though. And this story came out the day, like last Tuesday, right after our show. And that's
we were like, it's one of the few times we've ever gone, damn it, why aren't we doing a daily show?
And this is one of those things where it's like we've been getting a lot of fake outrage stories, and like everyone's got to be careful. Like the one, like the Starbucks cup, baby, it's cold outside. Like
nobody.
It's like.
Nobody.
I'm it's sorry. Like one person.
Again, if you are out there listening and you are outraged by "Baby, It's Cold Outside," and I have ever seen you on a dance floor to anything with bass released in the past 25 years, you can sit down right now.
We're not going to be playing "Baby It's Cold Outside," but here's the next one by
from Cardi B telling you how to eat her ass. Yeah,
or move, bitch, get out the way.
Blow my whistle, baby. Yeah. Hey, here's Nirvana's "Rape Me" that you all listen to, and
no, but it's one person, and then BuzzFeed writes about it, and then everybody goes, "Why are they outraged?" And everybody gets really mad about something that's not even a thing. Like it's become like so. This is, I think, another thing where like Hopcat. I like Hopcat. It's fine.
But we've mocked this forever.
That they called, not that they called it this, but that their fries aren't. Let me get to the. So they like the crack fries was like their thing, and we mocked it because they gave away 100 crack fries when they opened up Detroit, and people stood in line for it, free fries. Like, are you idiots? But they decided to change the name because crack ain't funny. And here's me going, okay, for one, like your cheese sauce, the bomb. Your fries, Rallies are better. And I'll fight you. Change my mind, right? Steven Crowder, yeah.
Change my mind.
Change my mind. But then, like, did you see the press that they got that day? Every single news, anything in town, from Eater to the news, basically wrote the story, and there was over 1,000 comments on every one on social, 500 shares on every one on social. It was the story, and but
they're not switching to Pepsi. They're still going to serve Coke.
They can. Oh, I was going to. God, you stole my line. Should never talk to you before the show. It's my line. No, but for real though, like either they're the most genius marketers on this planet. Like, did you we dealt with a PR agency. Like, would you go, hey, PR agency, we're changing the name of our fries. Can we announce that? Like, why would you even announce that?
Just change it.
Just change it.
Or, if you want to serve the same dish, basically, like,
right.
Also include a side of ranch or something and call it a new name so that,
right.
It's the same fries.
Was it alienating anyone though? Like, it's not like they're not going to call them fentanyl fries now, or, it's
those
like,
are to die for.
Randy.
To die by.
Randy, that was quick for once. Usually they're late. No, but it's like, what are you going to, PC fries if you're following South Park?
Rumor has it they'll be naming them Molly fries after their number one fan, Molly.
There's a number one fan for crack fries.
Molly,
how do you become
Bob,
that?
Molly, it's MDMA. It's another drug, Bob.
Oh. I'm slow.
You're old.
I don't know. I still don't know what the hell you're talking about. Is it Advil that I don't know?
Yeah. Sorry,
It's the only drug I know.
Motrin fries?
Exactly.
I got that one, but yeah, no. But speaking of Amazon, dude, again, loving the episode. Part 2 of the Amazon episode was solid, and follows on the heels of yet another incident with yet another worker in yet another factory. This one was an Amazon factory, but a worker in a porcelain factory got impaled by 20
it was 10
inch wide metal spikes.
Oh, yeah, the 20, yeah.
Because of a mechanic, like the robot just didn't know what it was doing and just literally fired like all these metal spikes.
If you ever want to cringe,
did it, yeah.
Oopsie.
Boston Dynamics.
If I ever want to welcome our new robot overlord.
Right. If you ever want a cringe photo, like there's some photos that you're just like, oh my God, I can't look. This is one of those ones.
Dude.
Like there are spikes. I'm talking
Through
like
him.
medieval size, like Iron Maiden spikes. Like, like all the way up and down this guy's torso and shoulder and arm. Like, that's way, like the fact that guy survived.
Yeah.
They said one of them missed his artery by like 0.1 meters.
Oh yeah, and they couldn't
0.1 millimeters or whatever.
They couldn't even put him in an X-ray machine because the metal spikes would have interfered with the X-rays, so they couldn't tell how bad it was. They just had to go to work on him and hope for the best.
Oh God! Like seriously, it's cringy. But you know, it's not cringy, and it's my favorite article of the year is the Pornhub
stats,
the Pornhub year in review. And if anything tells you about what society or like you always I like the Super Bowl ones where like top searched during the Super Bowl and
right,
like on Christmas Day, which is kind of bizarre. Like, what are you doing, Timmy, upstairs? Nothing, Mom. But
isn't it one of the busiest days is Valentine's Day because apparently just a lot of people are flying solo.
So let's go down the list now. This is all like their global stats. 2018, there was 33.5 billion visits to Pornhub, 5 billion more than last year. So we're talking almost 20%?
Yeah.
Than last year. The daily average was 92 million visitors a day. They've now crossed 100 million a day. 30 billion searches altogether. That's about 1,000 searches a second. And then basically U.S. was top the list.
Far and away.
Far and away. Top 5 is UK, India, Japan, and Canada.
But we were not, the related stat was that the United States is not number 1 in time spent viewing.
Yeah, longest time. Basically the Philippines wins, average of 10 minutes and 37 seconds every time they log on. South Africa was number 2. US 3, Ukraine number 4, still at the 10-minute. Canada number 5, UK, France, Argentina, Netherlands. Like absolutely insane. Basically, every minute of the day, 200,000 videos are watched. And they go, don't worry about new content. Almost 5 million videos were uploaded. About 1 million hours were uploaded in 2018. 1 million hours. Didn't we do the math on
our show?
We hit 10,000 minutes.
Yeah, which is what was it?
17 days nonstop.
Yeah.
This is
the network. We're at just over a year and a half.
A year and a half of nonstop podcast. This is 1 million hours. I think we're at 10,000 hours for the network. This is 1 million hours.
That's crazy.
Yet they always keep recommending the same videos to
me. They do.
It's because they know you're a creature of habit who fears change.
and there's 8 million comments on videos. Like you guys sit and comment on them. The most common words: love, hot, like, good, sexy. Like I'm like English majors, right? Well, if you're commenting, I like it. I like that one.
The same people that click the share buttons, Bob. That's who's commenting. Did
you ever there's share buttons on those? Like, hey, grandma would really like this.
Yeah, you know who would really like this porn? My friends and family. Let's share that sucker to Facebook.
And this is for the data nerds. 4,400 petabytes of data transferred altogether. That's more bandwidth than the entire internet consumed in 2002.
That's
I'm
crazy.
done after that one. There's more, but
that's crazy.
That's the coup de grace. Like
some of the weird searches they did though were Fortnite, Stormy Daniels.
That's not.
She was in the news.
And Bowsette.
What's Bowsette?
Look it up.
Bowser's
the female Bowser. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's a whole cosplay genre of that doesn't surprise me in the least.
What?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. There's a bunch of crap going on with the government, and it's kind of like we always argue that stop getting into technology, government. Stop talking about it. Stop doing anything about it.
You don't understand it.
Stop.
You're never going to understand it.
So, I mean, let's start with, you want to start with the Google CEO hearings?
Absolutely.
Because this one like blows my mind. There's a senator, doesn't matter what party he is because they both suck, basically confronted the Google CEO on why when he looks up his name that it's all shit.
Well, and why when they search on Donald Trump, or no, they search on idiot, and the image search brings back pictures of Donald Trump.
Right. Well, it's because that's what people are looking for, and but like the other senator kind of rebutted and said like if your stuff wasn't, if you want good results, right, do good stuff. That was exactly, do good stuff. And it's like, do you not know how Google works?
No, they clearly don't.
They don't.
Because the guy was like pulling out his smartphone and like, hey, I'm searching on myself right now, and like here's like here's what's coming up about me. Well, those are stories about you. That's how Google works.
Right. It's an algorithm. We can't control who writes about you.
We don't have somebody at Google going, you know what? Screw that guy. Let's go ahead and make
Bill's super nice. Let's get rid of those hit pieces from those. If you got 3,000 blogs that write hit pieces on you, that's what's going to come up. But if it's not a hit piece, if you didn't not do it, so obviously you've done some bad things, and you should shut the hell up. The other one is, and thank God this got swept under the rug real quick, but I want to bring it up just to prove how stupid are that you even bring this up in conversation. Is in California they wanted to bring up to implement a tax on SMS messages. To pay for poor people's phones.
Saw that.
And this has been since what? When did there's already a program to help lower income people with phones from long distance that was going back, I don't even want to say the 50s. It goes back a really, really long time ago. But this whole thing is like, Senator, this is me talking. If you seriously think if you're going to tax me on a text message that I'm going to continue to use text messaging and not use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or any of the thousands of messaging apps that are free and available to me, you are out of your goddamn mind. Like the fact that even got brought up in conversation tells me everything I need to know about anyone sitting in an office.
Paying for free speech.
Yeah. In essence. And that's the one thing. Like, you can probably tax me a half a penny and I probably won't balk. You text me a nickel, I'm probably moving because my wife's bill would be like $82,000 a month. Right? So, exactly.
So we talked robots. Huge news because we've talked about these before. The sex robot conference has been canceled. Because there was too much
conference.
Yeah, there was a conference. It was going to be a biggie, and it got canceled because apparently Steve Bannon was going to be the keynote, and even people who are really, really into banging robots don't want to listen to Steve Bannon. So the plug got pulled. No pun intended. Conference not happening anymore. So now they're realigning to have it happen with the 2020.
Why don't they just not have him as a speaker and then have the damn conference? Then you cancel it. That sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Apparently, they already had all the materials printed and all that, and that was like the whole.
That's the other one.
Now they're gonna run at the same time as the AVNs next year.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't you? I did have one more on basically the stupid FCC and the stupid government. Basically, what they came out with now, not only did they want to tax text messages, now they want to tax basically businesses that use broadband.
Yes.
So and give them, I want to paint this picture and give that money to ISPs that sell the businesses the broadband.
So the company is already buying internet access from the ISPs.
The company's already buying access from an ISP or multiple ISPs, most of them do. Then they're going to tax those businesses for using the broadband. Then they're going to give that money back to the ISPs.
No.
Can someone call me, please?
So kind of like the taxes that we pay on our car to then pay the taxes on the gasoline that we use in our car for the roads that we drive on.
They already tax.
I know they do.
Products and services.
I know they already pay a tax, right? But now this is the dumbest one though. Like you're going to pay me. Like, it's almost like you pay me a sales tax to give back to the business that I just bought from.
Yes.
That's and you're
Just raise
proposing
the
this
price of the service and
or lower the cost, right? Like one of the two.
Supposedly, they want to use this tax to incentivize the ISPs to roll out rural broadband, but we've tried that several times, and the companies just take the money and laugh.
Well, the company's like just like that case in Boston. There's like a small town of like 1,500 people. Comcast is like,
in mass. Yeah.
hey, we'll roll in, but you're going to give us $500,000, town. And town's like, screw you, we'll build our own network. Get the hell out of here.
And that's the thing. So like, and that was kind of the interesting part is that, so instead of, I think it was going to be $400,000 for Comcast to do it, to roll out. And then it was, but it's $1.4 million for them to build their own fiber network.
But then they own it.
Well, yeah, but so then they opted for that. And like, and there were pros and cons of each, but I mean, it's kind of an interesting case study.
Well, I mean, the ILEC still exists. It's one thing that like a lot of the geeks, like at least the people that I know, because I mean, I called on that market like in 2003. It's a weird animal. There's like 20 of them in Michigan, 24 of them in Michigan. These small little towns, podunk towns that basically they own all the things, and none of the big boys can get in.
They sell access,
and they sell access. Yeah, and they rent. Those are and the funny thing is, they were the most progressive. This was fiber to the home before Uverse was even a glimmer in the eye.
You get better service up there than
and they were giving better speeds, they were offering better service, and it was the only granted it's a monopoly and it's the only game in town, and they didn't charge a lot more. The prices were but speaking of the end of year 18 the Pornhub list, Splash Data came out with the top 100 worst passwords of 2018.
Dude, and it's so painful that like the top of this list never changes.
It's the same. No,
it's either password or 1 2 3 4 5
yeah,
6.
1 2 3 4
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9.
So 1 2 3
1
2 3 4 5 6 was number 1. Password was number 2. 1 through 9 was number 3. 1 through 8 was number 4. 1 through 5 was number 5. 1 1 1 1 was 6. And then the first word on the list is sunshine, which and QWERTY. QWERTY I get. QWERTY is 9.
Yeah.
I love you. One word was 10. Princess admin welcome 66666 was 14. And then football was 16. Monkey was 18. Like Donald was 23. Like what? Charlie was 21. QWERTY 1 2 3. Like, you know,
people suck. Like that. Like I, as many times as like I've had these conversations, because dude, and that's, you know, how many times have we had the conversation where like, oh my God, you know, there was a password hard coded in something. 999 times out of 1,000, it's like the world's dumbest password that's sitting in that config file, which doubly makes me want to go kill people.
Number 20 looks good at first glance until you realize what it is. It's just 1 through 8, but with a shift key, so you get all the symbols.
Oh, but it's all okay. That's why, because I looked at that, I'm like, oh wait, there's got to be some sort of okay. Yeah, at least they hit shift key.
Yeah,
I mean, for crying out loud,
it's not a garage code.
They tried something. Yeah,
you want to know the one that scares me the most? And we talked about the crap going on in China where they found the
Taylor
murder
Swift
in the crowd.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Taylor Swift, I guess, apparently has a stalker problem, which I think any celebrity of her status probably would. There's weird people everywhere, but they've enabled at her concerts facial recognition. I don't even
to
know
identify them. Yeah,
to identify those people. So basically scanning everyone in the crowd.
They said the basic problem with this is that there are millions and millions of images of people that have been identified in these databases, and there's literally no legislation about how you can and cannot use them yet. So there's nothing saying she can't do this. It's just it's
taking it to another level.
Slippery slope.
Whatever happened to concerts in the 80s and like Walmart when someone steals something, you put a picture of the guy's face in the back and say, if you see this clown, throw him out.
Yeah.
Like, has it gone that far where she needs to enable like this much technology?
I can't speak to her.
And then how far can you go?
Yeah.
You got security coming. Have you ever done? I did concert security for 3 years.
I saw The Bodyguard.
You can't. Good luck getting. Good luck getting anywhere.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You come from security background, right? We have F5 and
sales, though. But yeah.
Sales. Okay. What do you make of that Marriott hack of 500 million?
Oh yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah,
that's because we're all affected by it because we all go to a conference every year at The Southfield Westin.
Somewhere.
Guess
Muhammad,
what?
here's the thing. At the end of the day, I got too many Marriott points to not go to a Marriott again. Dan, you're right, Dan. You look at me, you're nodding because it's right. 'Cause we're not like
When JW.
when Target gets hit, I'm not stopping going. I don't go to Target anyway, but it'll never change our behavior. These hacks, I don't even know why some of these companies are even, unless they're stealing IP. There's absolutely zero recourse. There's not one person that says, I'm going to go stay at this Holiday Inn now because Marriott just got hacked. Not one. I almost guarantee. Maybe there's one, right? Maybe, but.
Yeah, people, some analysts speak of connecting that hack with a couple of years ago from the Office of Personnel.
Oh no, that's what we've talked about. We've talked about that a million times. Where it's not the individual hacks that are the issues. It's the aggregation of all that data.
Exactly.
Where now you've got the Marriott database combined. And there's your email address, and hey, there's the email address that you used on seeking arrangement. Let's find out when you were booking hotel rooms for those affairs you were having, and then why you were So I mean it's not the individual hacks that are ever the concern. Well, they are, but to me it's the bigger picture, and that's what nobody really talks about. It's that data aggregation that's going on, combining all of the information from all of those hacks. That's the problem to me.
Well, and it's my canned line too. Tylenol sales went up after the cyanide killings,
right?
They go through these little PR swing. It's true. Like it changes customer habit. It doesn't. Unless you've been personally affected, unless like you're married, unless like your stuff got hacked, like directly. Say that you got your information, and then like you don't, and then if you get your identity stolen, you don't know where it came from, but it's probably from that correlation,
Yeah.
Speaking of facial recognition, the one that I thought was interesting, I didn't realize you could 3D print a head.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, like you're like, so basically what happened was they checked out the security on facial recognition from Android and Apple, 3D printed their heads, and then put it in front of their phone, and every Android phone unlocked, and the Apple said no,
Yeah.
Windows laptops with the Hello facial recognition feature also were not fooled by these fake heads.
No kidding.
Which is funny to me because Windows used to be fooled by just a picture.
They were.
Even the first round that the Android phones did with it, Samsung was of that, right? You could put a picture up to it.
Yep.
Didn't care.
So before we get to the last one, the one thing I found this kind of, I don't know, fascinating or what, the way workers are moving these days. A story came out from Google, and Google has 300,000 or 400,000 employees. And then it finally crossed the barrier where 50.5% of them were contractors.
Yep.
And 49.5 were actual employees of Google. And it's like, if you would have asked anyone on the street in this technology, in this space going, you would think 20%?
Maybe. With Google,
15 to 20% of any company that I've ever encountered. But to say that it's 50.5, I mean, we're encountering a very strange time these days. You might be employed, but it's like, how are you employed?
It's a good time to start a staffing firm.
Indeed. Speaking of staffing firms, one law that we're going to end the segment on this, one law that I actually think is a good law, is a New York lawmaker wants to give you jail time for sending, I never understood the concept of sending an unsolicited wiener pic. Anthony Weiner kind of started the trend. He didn't start the trend.
He didn't start the trend.
He got it in public eye, but I like to think he did just because his name's Weiner. Well, basically like texting it and then going, like what girl has ever said, my Romeo? Like it's like this, like the Hallmark Channel, like this lonely girl sitting at home and then ding ding opens her text message and going, I'm in love. He's the one.
Yeah.
My wiener.
No,
but he wants to give jail time for and you know what? Good.
Well, and the analogy they used was like, look, if you're on a public bus and you stand up and drop your pants, you're going to jail. You're on the subway, you drop your pants, you're going to jail. Why is this any different?
Public indecency, yeah. Good.
Honestly, the issue they're going to have is from a technology standpoint. it's not that hard to spoof an IP address. It's not that hard to hide where you're sending shit from.
Well, and then
It's
you
not-
could also say it's not mine. I took this picture from Reddit, or you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I Googled it and it's not really, I just texted an image.
So I didn't send so I pulled somebody else's pants down.
Right.
Not my pants.
Right. But again, I don't know how much the jail time would be. Hopefully it's, good. Do it.
Yeah. No, I'm all in favor of it.
Make those.
Dude, how many times have we been sitting around yakking with girls and they're like, no, seriously, look.
We don't believe them. We don't believe them. Give me your text. Oh, and then you see that crap. That was the one day where my friend let me logged in her Plenty of Fish account. And I'm like, she gets 80 messages a day and like 70 of them are vulgar. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what time do you look at that and go like, let's go out to dinner. You sound amazing. Like, I mean, for real, what do you,
My
right.
hero.
It looks like the punishment would be either a year in prison or $1,000 fine.
Or 1,000, which one should I pick? Which box should I choose?
You don't get to pick it if you're sentenced. It's up to the judge.
I know, but still, $1,000, come on. Make it like $100,000 a year. Then, all right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of $100,000, we're going to be back with the guys from F5 Networks, Dan Grice and Michael O'Neill. This is the IT in the D Show.
Hey, we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland. Secret Lives of the American Teenager and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
The Flanagan. Hey, this is welcome back episode 278.
Sorry.
Segment 2.
Hi, Jamie.
Segment 2. I was doing a cocktail like Mr. Flanagan.
I'm sorry, Jamie James.
Whatever. Segment 2. We're hanging out in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. It's Bob the Sales Guy hanging out with Dave the Geek. Randy, do the Twitters. Find us online, itinthed.com. We're setting up our calendar for next year. You know what? If you got any place that you want us to be, let us know. We're going to dive around Ferndale and Royal Oak and Detroit, kind of like we've always done. But if you want us out where you're at and you got like a room for us.
I mean, I'm sorry. Is it really bar owners? Like, do you want like 50, 60 random people showing up on a random Thursday night and buying a bunch of booze?
Is it that hard?
That sounds like terrible for a bar.
It sucks. They hate that stuff. Hey, this segment is brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. So even if you are a stock market newcomer, you can invest for the first time in true confidence. While other brokerages charge up to $10 for trade, Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees, which means you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. And
sounds like a good thing.
No kidding, right? Where were you back in 2008 when I was buying stocks? when everything was a nickel. And with clear design and easy to understand charts and market data, Robinhood lets you place a trade on your smartphone in just 4 taps. That might be a bad thing if I'm drunk.
With you, yeah.
At Selena's. I should really buy Citibank. Plus, you can discover new stocks.
breathalyzer plug-in for your
Plus, you can discover new stocks and track favorite companies with personalized news feed. Seriously, this is
that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, and it does. I mean, it actually allows you, like, they've got predefined market segments and categories. Like it says, if you want to find things that are run by female CEOs, you want to find things that are specializing in a certain piece of technology or whatever, it's all there. Or you can build your own custom filters. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you get custom notifications for price movements too. Like, hey, hits $8 buy. That's sweet. Do us a favor. Robinhood's giving listeners a free stock. Like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you bid your portfolio. One stock they're giving free. That's kind of cool. I might get my kid in this. And actually, it's for
the IT in the D Show does not recommend stock market valuations for those under the age of 18.
Oh, that's right. Do us a favor. It's actually a subdomain this time. This is kind of cool. Sign up at itinthed.robinhood.com. That's itinthed, one word, .robinhood.com.
It's kind of a cool app. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. So, hey, ran into old friends of mine. We used to work together at Cisco. And then we both are, as sales guys normally do in this business, we found new paths to take.
You were invited to not to re-enroll for the following year, much like I in Catholic school.
Right, and then someone hires you in a week, and then, you say, hey, remember me? But no, I ran into... we got Dan Grice in the house and Michael O'Neill. They are the guys running Michigan for F5 Networks. How you doing?
Great. How are you, man?
Good,
I'm
man.
happy I ran into you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Likewise, you were the first guest we've had in 278 episodes that is drinking that brought wine in the studio. So
That was a first. Someone asked for a wine glass, that's a first.
And you gave him a red Solo cup, and that wasn't.
He's got a wine glass.
I know he does.
Sia's already giving me shit on Facebook about
taking care of me. I appreciate it. It's nice to be a first.
Okay, I'm a geek. I contingency plan. We didn't need them for 270 episodes, but God damn it, they were here when they were needed.
And you have HA pairs of glasses too back there.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we sat down, we had breakfast. Phenomenal place, by the way. If you've never been there, it's the Beverly Hills
Grill.
Oh my God, it's the best. Yeah, that was one of the best breakfasts I've had in years. I said, F5, are you guys like load balancers, right? I think that's what if you haven't been.
Oh yeah,
that's what everyone thought. He's like, oh no, dude. And I mean, so. Tell us.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, exactly. So what did
my line.
I told him he's not allowed to say pivot. So what are you guys? What's that?
Paradigm shifting, pivoting, no. Yeah.
Right. What's F5 today?
Okay, what can't you say? No, guys.
It's refreshing.
Right.
You didn't get that, did you?
No, I totally missed
the F5 key is your refresh button.
Oh,
for your browser.
it's Control F5.
Yeah, Woo! Giving myself one. Shut up.
Well, I mean, I think you guys know, and a lot of listeners know, applications are the new capital, right? So companies are always trying to find better ways for their users to access the information, grab the applications, deliver applications safer, deliver them consistently to whether the users are internally, whether they're their customers. So that you have this whole, challenge now. I'm going to say paradigm shift because that wasn't on the list.
It's close.
But it wasn't.
Right.
So a lot of customers nowadays are trying to figure out how are we now going to deliver applications in the most effective manner. And how
it's not. Yeah, I was going to say where it's being housed too, because it's not like, hey, we got our own server farm, right? These are going into, you can go internal, it can go external, it can go into this cloud, that cloud, whichever one can serve it up the most proper.
Absolutely. And that's the key with applications. It's users, we don't care where it sits. We just want access to it. And we want to be able to get to it, use it, and have a consistent experience with it. And that consistency should be good, right? So that's really where our key focus is helping clients deliver those applications in a secure manner and efficient manner, wherever they happen to house them. So many customers are going through, a cloud strategy around, I'm going to put some things in a colo. I'm going to put some things in public cloud like GCP, I'm going to put some things in AWS. And so how do I kind of manage and secure all that? Because public clouds are great in a lot of ways for access and infrastructure, right? But you really don't have security in a lot of those things built in that you've got to have around that. So a lot of customers are turning to providers out there like F5 and others to kind of figure out how do we put a secure, consistent kind of blueprint in place to protect those apps and deliver those securely.
Now, what were they doing yesterday or pre-F5? Were they just everything manual?
They were sucking, Bob. That's what they were doing.
No, so everything was like the security stack, the access stack, everything was being managed separately.
So that's where I have my partner right here.
I think that the most traction we've had with our customers is the ones that are looking for that consistent experience or consistent control for policy reasons across everything. So as they embark down this multi-cloud world, internal private clouds, internal data centers that they've historically had, bits and pieces going to AWS, Amazon, Azure, and so on and so forth, is having an expectation, right? Having an expected control in place or having an expected, method to deliver those applications. Something that they already, in some cases, a lot of cases, they have this knowledge set that they've built over the years around our platform, that they can now leverage there, right? Because if you look at Amazon, you look at Azure, and you look at all these different places, the controls, while they may get you 90% or 80% of the way there, they're all different. So now you got to have somebody that understands those controls or those knobs in all these different places in different
You need
ways.
an ACL for the ACLs.
Right, but because we live in a layer 7 world.
It's true.
Right? And when you're trying to secure and lock down these apps, which are layer 7, right? You've got security controls, you've got performance controls, you've got, the thing that everybody takes for granted, which is something as simple as SSL, TLS, right? People see the green bar on the browser and they're like, I'm happy. There's a lot of particulars that go into making SSL right. And that's something we do very well. And so having that consistent control across all these worlds that these people are stepping into, has been something that we've seen a significant success around.
So you guys never see this in corporations around here, right? The CIO runs into a meeting and says, we're going cloud. Go figure it out. And the team's kind of left sitting there, right? You've got the network team, you've got the virtualization team, you've got the storage team, and now all these guys have to figure out what that means.
Oh, Sergio was notorious. That was the thunder that went through Chrysler when he showed up and went, "Here's my phone, make it work." It was the same thing with BYOD and that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was yes, boss. All right, figure it out.
Oh, absolutely. And so you're seeing a lot of those things. So while you're working with some of the leadership in those areas, and we're fortunate to have some great relationships like that, we're also making sure, just as key, if not more important, we're working with a technical team to kind of help enable that vision, right? And that's where I think, Michael does a great job. Our team does a great job in really working with customers around figuring out what that really means. What does it really mean if the CIO wants to see this or wants to have a lift and shift and wants to have public cloud involved? Well, we can do things like
just give me a dashboard I can get from home, man.
That's it. It's as simple as that, right?
You get this zero trust world or this end-to-end encryption. Everything's hidden. Everybody's treated as external users. But we want to lock everything down, but we still want visibility. We still want to be able to see what's going on in order to act on it. And we're the perfect spot for that. We do that today. We've been doing that in the data center forever. And now we've got purpose-built platforms or controls to specifically handle that. So now we've got, inspection points or proxy chains and things like that where we can pass, the decrypted, once we've decrypted it, because we're already doing that, the performance or the resources are already tied up doing that. So why not take it and shove it off to an IPS or shove it off to a homegrown bro inspection or something along those lines for, forensics or otherwise, data loss prevention or forensics that, banks typically have in place. That's huge.
So I guess kind of a softball question, but so then who's your typical customer that you're going after, and what does that kind of engagement look like?
Yeah, we're really addressing all verticals. So we can kind of give you a good example, I think, of a financial vertical that we work with, but we certainly work with a lot of different customers. But on that vein of kind of we're going to the cloud, kind of help figure it out. This is one of the interesting areas where I think we were involved in and talking with customers around, okay, well, you guys have to leverage the public cloud in some way, shape, or form. But do you want to give it all up to one particular cloud provider? Do you want to put all of your faith in control and finances in there, right? And
you look at what's been happening lately. There's no one's not guilty of going down. Everyone's gone down lately.
Exactly. We're
all by human error too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, we're in every OEM, including us, right? Nobody's perfect. Yeah. So if you're going to bet,
that one guy from that one data center that showed up at our pink slip party, his stuff was perfect.
No.
There's always one in every room, right?
We had a guy elevator pitch me, and he goes, "Yeah, I got a data center." Dave said the same. I'm not gonna, but he's like, we're 100% uptime, man. And I kind of looked at, I screamed for Dave across the room. You gotta
literally screamed across a bar for me to come over and annihilate this guy.
Tell him what you just told me. That's adorable. And he's a grown man. He wasn't a kid out of college. He's not in the industry anymore. I made sure to follow him out the door of LinkedIn. Anyway. No, but that's the problem that everybody gets into is yeah, great, you went to the cloud. And oh crap, our network just went down for an entire day because of some guy didn't do the settings right in Cupertino.
Added a zero or, one less zero during his change management.
Right.
Something like that, yeah.
Absolutely.
We see that. And we've got some pretty good architectures around at least baseline architectures around starting points for having those conversations with our customers to help them identify some of the things we've seen and kind of match them up if they've seen them themselves or don't know what they're stepping into. So we can talk through those.
Well, yeah, and especially from I would assume finance and healthcare are like the two twitchiest.
Yes.
Have to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. There's those two, in finance and healthcare are two of the bigger ones.
Regulation just cripples them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're the ones that have a little bit, they want to have a little bit more control around sovereignty, right? Data sovereignty. They want to keep that data at rest close to them. They don't want it sitting out in an S3 bucket somewhere or something like that. So that's where we find ourselves in these mixed architectures where we leverage, something like, a CenturyLink or an Equinix or a Colo or something like that, where those are our control stacks, where those are the enter and exit, ingress, egress points for all traffic. And then in the back end, we leverage cloud for what it's good for. It's that dynamic, spinning up, spinning down resources, the back end, the workers, right? We need more workers today than we did yesterday, but we still need that same control stack. And we still need that same, data at rest. So now what do? We throw a control stack and a chunk of storage into a Colo, and then we run direct lines into the Amazons and Azures and GCPs and things like that for what they're good for.
And that checks the box.
Of both worlds. It checks the box. There's no lock-in, and you remain agile, right? Think about data, right? Just the architecture around something like this. Just think about putting terabytes or petabytes of storage for a financial institution, all transactions, right? Imagine putting that in an S3 bucket. Hey, they'll let you put anything you want in there for free. But when it comes time to take it out,
yep.
What's it cost? It costs you something. They hit you for a penny every bit that goes across the wire. So if you think about the cost associated with that, this definitely works itself out.
And there's exceptions and outliers to everything, but really it's a hybrid cloud world we're seeing. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So these companies can position themselves and be ready, right? They can have that control stack, that control point that Michael was referring to, and leverage it as they see it. And that's where I think they can check the box with the CIO, with the business, and obviously they're cloud enabled.
So that's, perfect customer. Before they were doing everything different clouds, but they were doing everything manual, or they were doing different things different. Like this had a different security parameters. This one had different, right? They weren't everything. So you're standardizing in essence, everything from controlled security down the line of
from a policy perspective.
From a policy perspective, yeah.
Absolutely. And then we haven't even talked about automation orchestration, right? All these clouds, including, what we do. We've been API enabled for forever, and we've got a pretty healthy supply of, people behind, some of the work that we do. We've got, Cloud Init, we've got SDKs, we've got, our contributions to, Ansibles and things like that. An entire GitHub page that's dedicated just to all things that we do, but also the things that our customers contribute.
Nice.
And then we've got another site that right off of our main corporate website called clouddocs.f5.com, and that is the entry point or the face to the documentation around how to do a lot of these things. Right. In fact, our agility conference that we run once a year, it's our Super Bowl, if you will. All the material that's developed for the labs, for those courses, is all code, right? The documentation is code. The labs are code. There's 30 people that show up for class. We do, class times 30, spin it up in the cloud, the backend. It's all automated. So we those things kind of have been going hand in hand.
So it's really an education factor that I think we really, really try and bring to the market for people. Education is so big because if your customers understand it, they're going to gain the value that they wanted to buy and perceive to buy out of it. You're going to have a happier customer. The business is going to be happier because it's going to be working the right way. So it's a real big push on a consistent basis, not only for our corporate things that we have, but we do quarterly serious technical labs. So you want to hit a keyboard, we've got something for you, right? And I think the education is, and that's something that we invest in and make sure that our customers have at no cost, right? So they can kind of go learn about those things, learn about web application firewalling, because layer 7 firewalling is so important now because customers are moving things into public cloud like their domains, right? Things of that nature. So how do you protect that in kind of the new world? So there's a lot of real key technical things that we do, plus the documents and the labs and things we have. And education for us is really, really important. And we make sure we take the time every quarter and with every customer to do that the best that we can.
You guys are one of the OGs in terms of the technology vendors. Been around since since pretty much we've been around. You know what I mean? So that definitely goes to say something. You know, good to see that they're, you know, like I said, when you get pigeonholed, like if you haven't kept up with what you're doing, it's eye opening for me. Just like, you know, this is what you're doing today. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. You know, this is great.
No, I think you're exactly right. And especially with the perception of that, it's if we don't reinvent ourselves and do the right things for our customers, right, then you're not going to be relevant anymore.
Precisely.
So you have to reinvent.
Well, that was the old joke at HP. If you don't like your job, just wait 6 months. It'll change. Yeah. Welcome to IT in general.
Yeah,
right.
So, hey, F5.com. We appreciate you guys hanging out. You can find them on LinkedIn. I'm sure you're open to that. Dan Grice, Michael O'Neill. You're probably not because you're an engineer. I'm just kidding. Don't
talk to me.
Appreciate you guys coming out. Hope you guys had a good time and definitely enjoy the content. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with Mohammed and Zach from Trial Assure. This is the IT and the D Show.
Be right back, guys.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Segment 3, episode 278. This is the one and only IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One, Podcast Detroit, beautiful
Why?
Oak, Michigan. I know why. Because we are IT and the D.
And you're still not.
Muy,
Merry
muy.
Christmas.
We hear stories all the time. We love you. We have a fan club of people that downright loathe us.
We should be employing facial recognition software to keep our asses safe. But
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we are lucky enough, and
before we dive in, though, hey, incidents happen and they require complex coordination between operations and software development teams who are putting out fires every day. That's why getting alerts immediately is critical. Thankfully, there's OpsGenie by Atlassian. OpsGenie empowers dev and ops teams to plan for service disruptions and stay in control during incidents. It also gives teams the power to respond quickly and efficiently to unplanned issues. And it helps notify all the right people through a smart combination of scheduling and escalation paths that account for things like time zones and holidays. What a novel concept. Better yet, OpsGenie allows for deep flexibility in how, when, and where alerts are deployed with over 200 integrations like Jira, Amazon CloudWatch, Datadog, New Relic, and more. I think I have an account and a touch point on all of those. Plus, it tracks all activity and provides useful insights to improve future incident responses. With OpsGenie, your next incident doesn't stand a chance. Visit OpsGenie.com to sign up and get a free company account and add up to 5 team members. Not a bad little way to test things out. If you got like your little incident response team, do your thing, test it, see if it works, and then, hey, grow it if you need to. Not that complicated. That's OpsGenie.com. It's OpsGenie.com. Never miss a critical alert again with OpsGenie.
Awesome. Thank you for this. So speaking of clarifying, we got some very patient guests. They've been here since the early days of the show. Early hours.
long ago.
Yeah. But we got Mohammed Zaradin and Zach Weingarten. Mohammed's the CIO. Zach is the product solutions manager. They're from a company called Trial Assure. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Thank you for having us.
Good. See, you got Mohammed on the wine too. So he's guest number 2 that's drank wine on our show. So you're starting a trend here, Grice. But so I guess let's start with you, Zach. You know, like give us an overview. I kind of talked in the early days in the early part of the show what Trial Assure was, but let's get it out of your mouth. What you guys do?
Yeah, so Trial Assure is a software that helps facilitate transparency in clinical trials. So our users are clinical trial sponsors, drug companies and people to that effect. And when you talk about transparency, you're talking about a couple of different things. The main thing being registering your trials on clinicaltrials.gov or other registries. But also, submitting your results to those registries as well, and data sharing and anonymization is the big new kind of next frontier of this transparency initiative that you're seeing in the industry. So, what Trial Assure does is kind of helps facilitate all of these different types of workflows and initiatives that need to take place.
Now, you guys are doing this globally?
Yeah.
So each country has their own.
Yeah, so it's complicated.
I would assume. I would almost assume in some cases it's state by state.
Well, there's clinicaltrials.gov is the main U.S. one, and around the globe, different countries have different ones with different regulations on what you have to do. depending on what conditions you're studying, sometimes there's like a specific oncology one. So if you're getting government funding, you might, have to register to that one. So, part of, what we provide is just guidance on here are the regulations, and based on your trial and different parameters about it, here's what the different registries that you need to submit to. And then it manages the data as well. So it puts it from a core set, puts it in the package that registry accepts, because they all have different fields and different requirements and stuff.
Now, Mohammed, talk to me about the actual software, right? You talk, do you guys have to go out and manually collect, or are you guys using machine learning?
Sure.
It's got to get updated pretty much by the minute.
Sure.
Talk to me about.
So the key word here is transparency, and it's a suite of applications focused strictly on transparency. Anywhere from, Zach mentioned, the disclosure of software, but we also help in the anonymization of some of the data behind the trials and the publishing. And that's a big initiative for all pharmaceutical companies to make sure that they are transparent on what trials are conducting where and what are the results ultimately, and they're compliant. So we help in the compliance aspect of it where they need to be compliant. And there are many, many regulations, as you mentioned, and rules on when and how to become compliant in different countries. An example, if you recruit a patient for a trial in a certain country, you have to disclose and you're obligated. Otherwise, your drug is not going to get approved, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is, from the ground up, we built a tool and a database that's focused on that. And that's not really hasn't happened in this industry before.
Which is that's kind of surprising. I mean, good for you. Good for you guys. But I mean, that's kind of surprising given, I would assume, the amount of complexity that's out there with that. And if I'm a drug company, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to hunt all that crap down.
Surprisingly, I mean, some of the big companies, it may have been seen as an afterthought, right? They're focused on the development of the drug and all the complexity that goes in the development of the drug. So disclosure, right, comes somewhat a second thought or afterthought.
Right.
But there's a big push, and without getting into the politics of it, in becoming more transparent as companies, and really in the best interest of the patient and in developing drugs that solve big problems and cure diseases. And that's really the push behind that transparency and making data available.
So my biggest question is, when you have, different countries with different regulations, and some might be a little bit more loose than others, is there like a certain instance where like a drug company makes almost like an A, B, and C drug, because this country's a little looser, we can get in a little quicker, versus someone, more relations, you have to make it different. Again, I don't know anything.
It's fine in Europe, not necessarily the U.S.
No, it's true with food. Like in Europe, especially, there are tons of food that's banned in Europe that we allow. Does that occur? Because I don't know anything about this industry, pharmaceuticals. I'm just curious.
At the end of the day, I mean, if your drug is going to be marketed in the U.S., which any drug company wants to do, it has to be on clinicaltrials.gov. So you have to at bare minimum meet that requirement. So it's not really so much going into the decision making of where you're doing your trial or anything.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, a country that's a little bit lax, like, can you get into? I'm not going to name names of countries, but you figure it out. Hey, we can get into this country without having to go through this.
But
crap.
The interest is here, right?
Okay.
And the regulation is here, and if you have to prove it really here in Europe before it goes anywhere and becomes viable, successful, and so on.
Sure.
So. And there are very strict requirements and regulations, as you know, and we have to deal with all of that in terms of keeping the software up to date in terms of the regulation and compliant, right? So there's very specific. When you talk, you heard earlier DevOps and how software gets deployed and secured and so on. We have to deal with all of that, and on top of it, all the FDA requirements in terms of software being validated and protects the privacy and so on and so forth, and GDPR and you name it.
Sure.
Well, and actually that's my question, because you've used the word transparency a few times now. Transparency with whom?
Transparency to the public.
Okay.
Transparency to the patient who's recruited in a trial, right?
Well, there's two kinds in my eyes. I mean, there's transparency to the public, which the registries fulfill partially. Plain language summaries fulfill, like, you print up, a couple page PDF with graphics for your participants on what the results were of the trial. But there's also transparency to your other researchers. And that's really the direction that I think the industry in general is going at this point. Because I think big data has a big role to play in clinical trials. And I don't know if I can think of an industry where it can make a bigger impact, honestly, because think of the cost of gathering that data.
Right.
I mean, it's astronomical to run a trial, and the human cost. The people who are in it are, they put their lives and their bodies on the line to generate that one data point, right? So, bringing big data into it and allowing that one data point to go beyond just the clinical trial that it was in, but into multiple trials and being able to be reused and redone is kind of the direction that we're headed. So
do you get any pushback on that though? Because I remember just going through with the automotives and that kind of stuff, like even back in the Cobeson days even, okay, so yeah, you've got, the big three that all kind of have this touch point, but there was so much heartburn and discussion and wrangling about, okay, I'll put my data in for this much, but you can't use it for that, and it can't go to somebody, like it can't go to them, and
it's even more than what you were used
to.
No,
I would assume. No, I would assume so.
This is exponentially more sensitive.
There's patient privacy. You got to first off, so you have to anonymize the data, and it's more than just scrubbing people's names out of it. You have to, the ways that they look at this data and are like, this could be identified. Like you look at visit dates, for example. Like if I can look at a data set and just say, oh, I know my grandma was in on every Tuesday, and I can look at all the visit dates and line them up, and then I'm like, oh, how many of them were female? How many of them are 82 years old? You can identify them. So there's all different kinds of methods and methods that go into anonymizing a data set. And there's a risk score that you're kind of balancing the utility of the data versus the risk of identification. But the point is that's, one huge effort there. The other one is, clinical trial sponsors, when they're sharing data, it's not really quite like an ecosystem where they're just putting it into a repository and then everyone can just get it. It's very transactional. If you're going to go in, you have to prove, first off, you're a legitimate researcher. You have to approach them on one of these data sharing platforms and put together a proposal and so forth. So it's not just out there quite yet, but, you have to have some kind of agreement, and the researchers have to say, this is a legitimate use for our data. And so we'll give it
keep in mind, they want to do all of that, protecting the privacy while also protecting their IP, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I was going. Yeah.
Billions and billions that go into development of a drug over many years before it actually makes it to the market. So it's that balance that they want to strike between being transparent, but at the same time promoting science and advancing the medicine, but at the same time protecting their IP.
But I hope the direction it goes is, you may give a little, but you might receive a lot, right? Because you can, if you're putting your data out there, you're presumably using and consuming the mass amount of data that could be out there, and that's to your benefit. I mean, you can design your trials a lot better if you can. Data mine other studies that have already been done and other research and things.
I was going to say, that's already been done. It didn't work. That's already been done. Yeah, it was already, maybe I can do that better. Right. Yeah.
So to go back to your question, Bob, we obviously, as I said, we built a tool from the ground up purposely for this type of work when it comes to transparency. And we're very focused on transparency. When it comes to the disclosure aspect of it, to what we call the plain language summary. This is putting out a report that a 5th or 6th or 7th grader really can read and understand what happened if they participated in a trial. Anonymizing data so that this data can be shared with others and trials. Ultimately, some people believe you can cut down the cost, cut down the cycle, potentially come up with other indications of drugs just by utilizing data through having that big data available to you. So we're exploring all of that in Trial Assure, as well as, I don't know, you mentioned some things about blockchain before the show, but I tell you,
It's too bad Nuri's not here. Say blockchain one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
Blockchain, when it comes to protecting privacy and having that linked ledger without
Gotcha.
disclosing or showing identity of somebody, it has some merit in what we're trying to do. So from that perspective, we look at it. I mean, you can envision a day where you might want to share your information if you knew that there's a registry.
He already does. All of his passwords are worse than any of the ones we talked about in the first segment.
Just in my home IoT crap. Shut up.
So if there were to be a registry, public registry, where people can actually share their information that can be utilized to advance research in medicine.
It's called 23andMe.
Right? I mean, but in a blockchain way, completely encrypted and anonymized. Why not?
So I guess the pharmaceutical companies are paying you for this? At the end of the day, who's paying you?
At the end of the day, we license the software. We're a software as a service technology company, and we license it to drug companies that are developing drugs or service providers that are servicing drug companies and helping them in the drug development process. So both.
Got it. No,
universities, a lot of research happens in universities and it's funded, and they need to do the same thing, basically. So
interesting.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And it's all made in Detroit.
All of it?
How's that?
Even better.
You're not outsourcing dev anywhere?
No, nowhere.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Nice. That's great, actually.
What didn't we hit on? I feel like we covered things, but I don't know you guys as well as you do. What didn't we hit on that we should before we wrap this up?
I mean, I guess the big takeaway is for clinical trials with the movement of big data. I think it's just really critical that the industry is going to move towards embracing anonymization, sharing that data, and pay attention when you're looking at the drug companies and the drugs that you use. How transparent are they? You can find that information online. There's scorecards for different drug companies. So educate yourself and know what are the drug companies that are really on the forefront of this frontier, and those are good companies.
I would add, if I may, one thing. Drug companies sometimes are made to be bad companies. They really aren't. They want to be transparent, but they have to balance a lot of things. I mean, I'm not here to promote, drug companies as such, but there's a misconception or misunderstanding that they don't want to share information or they just want to charge a lot of money. But what goes into it, and I came from automotive for 20 plus years, so it was a learning curve for me as such. The development cycle is so expensive, and there's a lot of regulation. As Zach said, educate yourself, right? And they do want to be transparent, and that's what we're trying to help.
A lot of talk goes into the pricing, right, of drugs, and in our view, reducing the cost of research can have a great impact across the board. And using other data that's already out there, a lot of the research and time that goes into it is repetitive. It's information that can already be gathered if we had a system where it can be done. So reducing that research cost is going to lower the prices.
That's one thing I never said. Why is it only costs a nickel to make that pill? Why is it so expensive? I'm like,
right.
The CD only costs a dime. Why does it cost so much?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, this is a personal anecdote, right? We see the drug commercials all the time. My wife's a physician assistant. She writes prescriptions. I said, has anyone ever walked in your office and said, I saw a commercial during a football game for whatever, Xylacol. Can you give me that? I go, have you ever said yes? And she's like, God, no. I go, why do they advertise? It's one of my biggest paradoxes of my life is why do drug companies pay?
I think we're the only country that allows that.
I know.
And New Zealand.
Oh.
And all the drugs cause diarrhea, every one of them.
Anal leakage.
Right. No, but I never understood the purpose.
Well, there's an element of education, right? They get so much, bad or good publicity here. There's an element of them being out there and educating the public. Unlike any other country, really.
Right.
We are more educated on this stuff, more engaged, as much as you don't think probably we are, than any other place on earth. So it is. There's a big element to that.
Crazy industry.
It's
But,
it's
looks
fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been, yeah.
But trialassure.com, am I correct?
Trialassure.com, absolutely.
Local homegrown, love it, love it, love it.
Always a
Absolutely.
fan.
Yeah, so hey, we're going to wrap things up for episode 278 of the IT and the D Show. I'd like to thank Dan and Mike from F5, Mohammed and Zach from Trial
You know
Assure.
what? We have to do one more this year. That way we can start next year on 280.
That's fine.
And break
It's
late
like
in
that
the
matters. I want to thank Palm and Eero, Robin Hood, and Ops Genie for keeping the lights on. We sincerely appreciate you. On behalf of Bob, Dave, and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
See you guys.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy. Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Root.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe, own the truth.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about the tag team? Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.